Welcome to the introduction and video instructional manual for the HTTR Handle, a new product from What's That Strap. The HTTR Handle is a specialized cable machine attachment that's designed to help young athletes and adult athletes improve their rotational movement ability for sports movements like the golf swing. Similar to the 3D strap manual, I'm going to give you an anatomical overview of the product, so if you haven't purchased it, you know exactly what you'd be getting. To start, here at the top we have a heavyweight metal D-ring, followed by this dual triangle handle component. This part of the HTTR Handle, as well as the chop handle, which features kind of a similar construction, makes using the HTTR Handle much more comfortable than something like a standard exercise cable bar. And here's why. These two triangles are made from separate pieces of webbing. That allows this top triangle to rotate or pivot as you rotate or pivot. What this means is that the resistance will only ever feel as though it's pulling through your hand, giving you a feeling of control of that resistance, how far it is away from your body, and the direction you want to push or pull it throughout the range of motion. Again, more so than using a long standard exercise bar where the cable machine will be attached to the tip of that bar and your hands will be inside of the resistance. Now, to the body of the HTTR Handle. Starting at the end here, we have a sewn loop with a neoprene and 3D spacer mesh padded sleeve for durability, hopefully to keep this product looking fresh for a long period of time. And in the middle here, we have an adjustable webbing system that's going to allow us to make this product shorter or longer for different size bodies. We have a heavyweight metal webbing adjuster. We have a rubber piece here that's used to slide up and down to kind of merge the fabric. To make this product longer, you can turn this webbing adjuster piece 90 degrees from its resting position and pull the fabric to make the handle longer from handle to loop. And you can easily make it shorter, again, by turning this webbing adjuster piece 90 degrees from its resting position, pulling on the rubber pull tab here, pulling down until you have the desired length. Now, let me attach the HTTR Handle to the cable machine, and let's talk about how to implement this for yourself and with your clients. The primary exercise or movement pattern that we'll be training with the HTTR Handle is what we will call the pivot. To operationally define the pivot, it's an athletic stance-based rotational movement that is not specific to any one sport in particular. Rather, it's foundational across many sports, meaning you'll see elements of it in the golf swing, baseball swing, on the tennis court, etc. To set up for our foundational version, I recommend putting the cable machine around waist height and establishing a general intent during the exercise to keep the rotation level, keep the shoulders level, keep the cable level. Okay, imagine wiping off a table. You wouldn't wipe off a table like this. You wouldn't wipe it off down and across. We are trying to design an initial exercise variation that's simple enough to do right away, that's simple enough to load over time while teaching us some key lessons of rotational motion. And two key lessons, or two technical pillars, that I think the HTTR Handle is uniquely designed to address are: one, awareness and stability of midline alignment, nose over sternum over zipper, okay, during the sequence. It is something that you will see across sports. Into zones of impact, release, delivery. High-level rotational athletes establish and maintain this stack. Now, in our foundational version, our midline is going to be vertical relative to the ground. Our axis of rotation, okay, is going to be perpendicular to the ground. Right? In sports, sometimes athletes will orient that axis of rotation differently to complete different tasks, like hitting up on a driver or hitting up on a baseball. Don't confuse this orientation with thrusting the hips forward, which is not good sequence. Right? In our foundational version, we're going to stay very centered. There's not going to be a lot of frontal plane motion. Right? But in different sports, there is different amounts of frontal plane effort, meaning side to side. But again, into impact, okay, maintenance, establishment and maintenance of that stack, nose, sternum, zipper. And in our foundational version, we're going to stay pretty tall with the torso. We're not going to bend very much. We're not going to change planes between our shoulders and our hips very much. Right? It's just a simpler version to begin to teach these elements. In sports, okay, we will tilt, but from a frontal plane view from the side, you will see into impact, regardless of amount of tilt, we'll see alignment, nose, sternum, zipper, again, into key zones of impact or delivery. So we need to work on the fundamentals with a very simple foundational version of the pivot. The second key lesson, and it's kind of dependent upon the first, is teamwork between the trail side and the lead side. Inherent in the design of the HTTR Handle, the client will get feedback on whether or not they're continuing to keep that lead side rotating, or if they're stalling their lead side and just turning this into an upper body exercise, which is a weaker strategy. We'll want to use, the larger muscles, the larger center of our body to generate the sequence. It also happens to be a more consistent strategy for sports like golf. Okay, let me finally get into the hitter handle and show you what this should look like and talk about what it will feel like and what it might look like when it goes sideways with clients who are having trouble with it. To begin to use the hitter handle, you're going to put your lead arm into this loop. You're going to slide the loop up around the arm, and you're going to secure that loop to your body. Conceptually, it's important to remember that this device plus the resistance is not connected to your arm. It's connected to the lead side. All right, you want to give that lead side some feedback to encourage it to contribute to its role in the pivot or rotation. This position of this trail arm is going to be in what I describe as a weak arm wrestling position. You're going to bend the elbow, externally rotate the arm, and extend the wrist. Then as you pivot, it's going to feel as though it stays on that seam. Truth is, it's not going to stay on the seam, but the feeling of it is going to encourage the lead side to do its job to bring that trail side around. All right, with all of our technical considerations applied, we're going to start in a moderate athletic stance. We're going to stay pretty upright. You have this general intent of keeping this rotation level. I'm going to check in with my alignment, my nose over my sternum over my zipper. I'm going to put my lead arm in, going to secure it to my body. I'm going to grab this handle with my trail hand. I'm going to put this arm in a weak arm wrestling position, extend the wrist. I'm going to walk out, get some tension. The cable is exiting me to my right. It's about 1 or 2 inches behind me. In my athletic stance, I'm going to rotate giving equal kind of effort from the trail side and the lead side. And I'm going to rotate until my trail hand gets to the line of my lead hip. And this, in my opinion, is what the foundational version of your hitter handle pivot should look like. It's body driven. I feel this in my lower abs. Okay, I'm trying to maintain a stack, trying to clear my lead side, or give my lead side the ability to clear, give that lead leg the ability to extend and push, keep the trail arm bent, okay, and finish in this position. This is the finish line. Now, something that you can use as a very obvious indicator of whether or not the sequence is going well or is going a little sideways is whether or not the client or you is able to maintain tension in the fabric, or does the fabric go slack? So in this position, if I keep my lead side rotating, this is taut. Okay? If I stall out and I start to use my arms, it breaks down. So it's one kind of external or kind of tactical cue to keep that lead side moving and make this more of like a slap shot action, or at least when you kind of categorize it as that or describe it as that, cleans up the motion. So check out whether or not they can keep that fabric taut. I hate to come up with something so corny, but like I mentioned earlier, position matters to sequence. And if they're not maintaining the stack, that fabric will go slack. And it's kind of true. All right. Quickly, I've really focused on developing a foundational version that you can use with a lot of clients that teaches the key lessons that apply to more complex movement. There are ways to responsibly kind of program variety and sport specificity into this device and into the chop handle device. Okay, and the way you can organize it is like this. Okay, you can vary stance width. Okay, so you start moderate, you can get wider, you can get narrower. You can vary stance symmetry. You can start parallel, moderate width. You can switch to an asymmetrical stance and pivot. The rules still apply. You can change amount of trunk tilt or spine like lateral bending. We were staying very upright and tall. You can add some tilt, dissociate the line of your shoulders, okay, from your pelvis, right? You can change the amount, more or less, of frontal plane effort, but the stack and all those principles still applies. It's just a little bit more frontal plane effort. You can change what I'll call the effort vector. All right, instead of being level and wiping off the table, you can go from high to low, all right, or low to high, and slightly change the axis of rotation. Stack still applies, right? So the direction of the cable. those are the ways that you can, again, organize and intentionally program some variety into this device. That's going to conclude this introduction, all right, to the hitter handle. I really hope you found some value, some technical principles, and some practical guidance as to how to implement it for yourself and for your clients. I really recommend following the Instagram page, which is updated pretty regularly with new ideas from customers, super creative ideas from customers, and what I hope to be better explanations from me. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your support. And I guess if you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them wherever you find this video on YouTube or on Instagram. Once again, thank you.